Good morning, children. Today we are going to continue with the same lesson, that is Unit 22, Environmental Management in 10th Standard textbook. So already you have seen two videos from this lesson, and this is the third video, which is a continuation of the last video. So environmental management lesson, in the last video you have learnt what is solar energy, what is wind energy, what are the different types of renewable energy, what are non-renewable energy, all these energy resources you learned. What are renewable energy resources? So renewable energy resources are those energy resources which can be used again, repeatedly used. Even if it is repeatedly used, it can be reproduced again within a short period of time. That is called as the renewable energy resources. Renewable energy resources will include solar, water energy, wind energy. Whereas non-renewable energy resources are those energy resources like coal, petroleum, natural gas. Even if it is used again, it cannot be reproduced within a short period of time. So non-renewable energy resources are also called as conventional sources of energy, whereas renewable energy resources are called as non-conventional sources of energy. See, you have to learn the other terms for each topic. The reason is, in the choose the correct answer or in the match the following, they will be asking you the other name. Pick out the non-conventional energy resources from the following. Pick out the conventional sources of energy from the following. So you learn even the other terms. So now in this video, we shall continue with water energy, tidal energy, and what are the solid waste management, we shall continue. So the first one is water energy. Nearly 71% of water is available on the earth's surface. So harnessing the water energy to produce electricity is called as water energy. What do you mean by this term harnessing? Harnessing means, here harnessing is controlling, making a control over it, and using it is called as harnessing. Having a control over it and using it is called as harnessing. Harnessing the water to produce electricity is called as water energy. Water which flows, water that falls from a height, especially in waterfalls, and such waterfalls is available in the hill stations. More waterfalls you can see in hill stations. Harnessing that energy to produce electricity. So for this harnessing energy, turbines will be used. Turbines will be used. What are turbines? Turbines are nothing but engines which is used to rotate based on either it can be rotated using air, water or wind. Here water will be used. So the water, the speed of water, the flow of water will make the turbines to rotate fast and it will produce electricity. And this energy, we call it as tidal energy, tidal power. We call it as tidal power, which is used to produce electricity. Or a tidal energy means the energy which is produced from water. And you know that many tidal power projects are available. And now here this using this water energy, we don't want any fuel. There is no fuel, there is no waste generated. It does not cause any pollution. It is very safe to use. So the energy that is produced, electricity that is produced from water. Now we shall continue with the next topic, tidal energy. So using tides or harnessing the tides to produce electricity is called as tidal energy. What are tides? So first we shall learn what are tides. So tides are the sea level, the speed of the sea level, whether it is high or whether it is low, the speed of the sea level based on the gravitational force exerted on the oceans, it is called as the tides. So these tides, using the tides or harnessing the tides to produce energy, it is called as tidal energy. For the tidal energy, there is no need of fuel. What are the advantages of tidal energy? We don't require any fuel. We don't want any fuel. Only tides are necessary. So no fuel is needed and it does not cause any pollution, as well as it does not generate any waste. And since we know the level of this, since we know the speed of the sea level, it is easily predictable. Tides are easily predictable and based on that turbines are used to generate electricity. And here apart from this, so water is denser than air. So even at lower speed of water, we can generate electricity, that is in the tides. So even at the lower speed of the tides, we can generate electricity. So these are the advantages of tidal energy. So tides, using tides as the main source to generate electricity, it is called as tidal energy. So I already told you what are tides. Tides are nothing but the speed of the sea level. What is the speed of the sea level, especially the waves? So how speed is the waves? Whether it is high or it is low. So the speed of the sea levels, the waves, it is called as tides. So next one, a very interesting topic that we are going to learn is rainwater harvesting. So you know that so many, in each and every house, this rainwater harvesting setup should be placed. So it should be necessary, it is kept necessary. So all this you already know, but anyhow we will learn. So here the first in rainwater harvesting, so to meet the demands of water, as one side there is increase in population, to meet the demands of water, rainwater harvesting is a very essential component. Here rooftop, first one is rooftop water rainwater harvesting. There are different methods. The first one is rooftop rainwater harvesting. So in houses, in buildings, in apartments, in construction areas, so in the rooftop the water is, rainwater is collected. Water is collected through the pipes, and in the pipes it is connected to the surface area. In the surface area there will be constructed, there is a tank constructed and the roof water is collected through pipes and it is stored in the surface area for future use. So that purpose, for that type of harvesting is called as rooftop rainwater harvesting. So the next one is recharge pit. So constructing a small pit, that is making a small pit in the soil to conserve the rainwater is called as recharge pit. So there in this recharge pit, when the water is stored, the water is percolated, that is the water is entered, and this percolation, the ground level water is increased. There is increase in the groundwater level. So that is called as recharge pit. The third one is digging tanks or lakes or areas. So this two method is followed in rural areas. The third method and the fourth method is followed in the rural areas. So here in rural areas, they will be constructing small tanks or lakes, that is we in Tamil we say areas, a large area is digged out and in that area the rainwater is stored. Here in these areas what happens, when the water is filled in one area, it is just being passed away to the next one because the areas will be interconnected. The areas are interconnected. When the rainwater is flowing on the one area, when it is completed, it will be flowing to the next one. So this method is followed in the rural areas. In the rural areas, how do they store the rainwater for future use? The next one is Uranis. So what are Uranis? Uranis means construction of ponds. Construction of ponds in rural areas, it is called as Uranis to store rainwater. That is called as Urani. Then what are the advantages of rainwater harvesting? What are the advantages? So to overcome the groundwater, so to reduce the groundwater depletion, to overcome that to overcome groundwater level, this rainwater harvesting is used to meet the demand. To meet the demand or to meet the demand of water, this rainwater harvesting is widely used. Then the third one, it reduces the flood and soil erosion. So without rainwater harvesting, such things cannot be avoided. Reduces flood and soil erosion, and even for drinking purposes, so for the domestic purposes, this rainwater is used. Now, the next one we shall learn is electrical energy management. What is this electrical energy management? So, managing the electrical source of energy. So, how do we get electrical energy? So, by burning the coal once or using the turbines, and these turbines will be rotated. I already told you what are the turbines. Turbines are nothing but the engines which will be rotated due to either air, water or wind. When it is rotated, electricity is produced. And managing this electricity is called as electrical energy management. So there are different methods of managing the electrical energy. The first one is using compact fluorescent bulbs, that is CFL bulbs. So you should learn this abbreviation of what is CFL. So CFL is compact fluorescent lamps is used, and the next one is light emitting diode. Light emitting diode bulbs can be used, compact fluorescent light bulbs to use to conserve the energy. So apart from this, at home or at school, we can switch off the lights and bulbs when not in use, using a solar water heater system to conserve energy rather than using the ordinary one, and using when it is switching off the cell phone mobile charges when it is not in use, and using solar cookers or solar water heater systems to conserve energy. In the domestic purpose, for all these methods are widely used to conserve energy. Now, we shall learn what are e-waste and how can we manage this e-waste. So, what is e-waste? E-waste is nothing but electronic waste. What is e-waste? E-waste is nothing but electronic waste, and how we can manage that electronic waste. So, nearly in India only 5% of this electronic waste is able to manage. Now, what are the sources? So, e-waste means from the electrical appliances we get the waste, that is called as e-waste. So, mainly lead, cadmium, chromium, mercury is present in this e-waste. Apart from this, though some amount of iron, copper, even gold is present, that cannot be used again. So this e-waste, it should be managed properly. So now we shall see what are the sources of e-waste. So first one is electronic waste. In sources, the first one is electronic waste. The electronic waste will include laptops. All this laptops will come under mobiles, charger, all will come under electronic waste. And the second one is household waste. Household waste, the refrigerator, TV, microwave oven, all will come under household waste. Apart from that, other accessories like printers, all electronic gadgets, all will come under accessories. So all these waste is dumped, and these waste will cause the soil, it is dumped and then causes a landfill, and here it is not decomposed, and what will happen? Again it causes land pollution. Now this to overcome this e-waste, I told you in electronic waste the components like lead, cadmium, chromium is present. So lead, cadmium component, it will cause diseases. What type of diseases? So nervous problem will be caused, and then chromium, it will be causing asthma, bronchitis. So such diseases are caused due to the deposition of this electronic waste, that is lead, cadmium, chromium and mercury. Now here this electronic waste, I already told you how to use electricity properly, switching off the lights and fans when it is not in use, as well as switching off the mobile chargers when not in use, using compact fluorescent light bulbs, light emitting diodes, all this can be widely used. Now we shall see the next topic, sewage management. What is sewage management? So the waste water, or in Tamil we say kalivu neer. So managing the waste water, it is called as sewage management. Here, what are the sources for sewage water? What are the sources? The sources will include from the waste water that is collected from houses, from industries, from dyeing units, from paper industries, paper pulp industries, from all these industries or sago industries, the waste water that is coming out from factories, industries and from the domestic purposes, this water we call it as sewage water. And this water should be properly treated and the effluents should be let out. Now, here we shall see what are the different types of sewage management. How can we manage this waste water? So now in this all this municipal corporation we will have this sewage water treatment plant. So first one is in the first tank waste water will be collected. In the first tank waste water is collected and there are different methods. There are different methods. The first one is pre-screening. First one is the pre-screening. Second one is aeration. Third one is sedimentation. Fourth one is filtration. And fifth one is disinfection. So the first we shall see what is pre-screening. The waste water is collected and it will be pre-screened. It will be stored in one tank. It will be allowed to sediment. The solid particles will settle down at the bottom or it will be settled at the bottom and the liquid portion will be flowing on the surface. So that is called as pre-screening. So after this pre-screening, the water is passed through the next tank called as aeration tank, and this aeration tank, small holes will be present. Small holes or small air particles will be present in this aeration tank, and in this aeration tank microbial contaminants will be removed. In the aeration tank microbial contaminants will be removed. And the next one is sedimentation tank. The sedimentation tank, all the solid particles will be allowed to settle down and the liquid portion alone will be flowing on the top. And again this liquid portion also, the water, again this water will be filtered. It is called as a sand filtration. If any sand particle is there, the water will be filtered. That is called as sand filtration. And after the sand filtration, the disinfection. So spraying chlorine and passing ultraviolet rays is called as disinfection. Disinfection will be passed to this water and then the waste water is let out. We call it as effluents. What is that waste water? We call it as effluents. The effluent will be let out. That is called as sewage management. So in this question can be asked sewage management. Sewage management means in the first wastewater is collected in one tank and second one in the pre-screening. Pre-screening means the solid particles will be settled down at the bottom, liquid will be floating on the surface, then it is passed to the aerage trunk. Aerage tank holes will be there. So using air, the microbial discontaminants will be removed and then it is passed to sedimentation tank where the sediments or the solid particles will be settled down at the bottom and then it is filtered. Filtration is taking place. Then after filtration, disinfection like chlorine and ultraviolet rays is passed and then the effluence is let out. Effluence means the waste water is let out. Now, here I told you in this pre-screening tank as well as in the sedimentation tank, the sludge material will be removed. What is the sludge means? The waste. Often the waste will be disposed, that is called as sludge disposal. The sedimentation particles which is settled down at the bottom will be removed, that is called as sludge disposal. So this is about sewage management. In each city there will be this sewage management plant. Now next we shall learn about solid waste management. The waste that is collected from the industrial waste, municipality waste, household waste, agricultural waste, all this waste will come under solid waste. Managing this solid waste, it is called as solid waste management. So first you should learn what is the solid waste. Waste that is collected from industries, from household purposes and from agriculture, municipality waste, all will come under solid waste management. And this is solid waste management. There are different methods. The first one is segregation. The first method is segregation. Segregation means separating or differentiating biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. It is called as segregation. That is separating out biodegradable waste. Those which can be degradable using microbial organisms are called as biodegradable waste, and those waste which can be not decomposed using biological organisms or microbial organisms are called as non-biodegradable waste. So first in segregation, the waste materials, that is especially the solid waste materials are separated out as biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. That method is called as segregation. And the next one is landfill. So solid landfill, depositing all the solid waste on the land is called as landfill. But in this landfill, as the days goes, this landfill will cause land pollution, that is soil pollution. And the third method is incineration. Burning out the waste is called as incineration, especially the biomedical waste is burned. So the biomedical waste is burned, that method is called as incineration. Then the fourth one is composting. So here what are the possible biodegradable waste, especially the waste that is generated from the household. The biodegradable waste, so like leaves, like fallen leaves or vegetable peels, all will come under biodegradable waste. So such waste can be compost, that is called as biodegradable waste can be composed, and that process is called as composting. So solid waste management, I told it will include agricultural waste, municipality waste, industrial waste, household waste, and this waste can be segregated, it can be managed in the following methods. The first one is segregation, second one is landfill, third one is incineration, and fourth one is composting. So So apart from this, how to manage the solid waste? So the papers, that is waste papers, can be used in the it is converted into pulp to make the paper. It can be again reused, and even the coconut shells and the baggage from sugar cane and can be used to produce biogas. In cow dungs can be used to produce biogas, that is nothing but the gobar gas, and domestic purpose also we can manage the solid waste. Apart from this, there is a 3R approach. 3R approach, that is reduce, reuse, recycle. What is 3R approach? Reduce, reuse and recycle. So this 3R approach, reducing the amount of solid waste, it is on the waste which can be reused. Waste paper can be reused, that is called as reuse. And the third one is called as recycling. What are the possible items that can be recycled? All the biodegradable waste can be converted into compost, or it can be used as a manure for the growth of the plants, that is called as recycle. So this always we have to go for this 3R approach. 3R approach: reduce, reuse and recycle. So these are the different methods to control the solid waste. So now again we shall see what are the important possible questions they will be asking from this topic. So most often they are asking this question, that is what are the different methods to conserve rainwater. So you have to write the 4 methods: rooftop rainwater harvesting, using recharge pit, and this is very important question, digging tanks or lakes or areas, and that is what are the methods used in the rural areas to conserve rainwater. So for this you need to write digging tanks or lakes, areas and Uranus. The fourth one is Uranus. So just I will summarize this one. What we completed in this video. So first we learned about what is water energy. So water energy means really harnessing the water to produce electricity. What do you mean by this term harnessing? Harnessing means having a control over it and using it is called as harnessing the energy. And with this, how do we get energy? So using turbines, that is turbines are nothing but engines. Using engines to rotate, as the engines will be rotating, electricity is produced. As the speed of water fluctuates, the energy, the engine is rotated and it produces electricity. And since water, it does not cause any waste and there is no pollution. Then we learned about tidal energy. Tidal energy also, what are tides? So tides are nothing but the flow of the sea level, whether it is high or level, especially the waves. So that is used to produce energy. So that here also turbines will be placed. Turbines will be placed near the tides, and the tides will be the turbines will be rotating to produce electricity. So I told you what are the advantages of tidal energy. Then what are different methods? Rainwater harvesting. So rainwater should be harvested for future generation. Rainwater which is found present in the ponds, lakes, oceans, all those should be collected in the dams and it should be conserved and it should be used for future purpose. I told you rooftop rainwater harvesting, recharge pit. This is a very important question. This is a very important question. Often it will be asked under 4 marks. What are the different methods of rainwater harvesting? Rooftop rainwater harvesting, recharge pit, digging tanks or lakes. This digging tanks and Uranus is mainly it is followed in rural areas. And then we learned what are the advantages of rainwater harvesting, electrical energy management. How to manage electrical energy. Then what are the e-waste and how to manage the e-waste and what is the sewage treatment. Sewage management, this will be asked often in this question. So what are the different methods? I told you pre-screening, aeration, sedimentation, filtration, then disinfection, and the effluent water will be let out. And then last one is solid waste management. Under this solid waste management, there are different sources. First one is segregation. Segregation means separating the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. Second method was landfill, solid landfill, disposing all the solid waste on the land is called landfill. Third one is incineration, burning the waste, and fourth one is composting. All the possible biodegradable waste can be converted into manure called as composting, and following the waste paper can be reused to make paper in paper industries. And again I told you the coconut shells, then as sugar baggage, all it is can be used. Then 3R approach, that is following this 3R approach will be more effective in managing all this waste, that is reduce, reuse, recycle. So with this we have come to the end of this lesson. The environmental management lesson got over. So please learn, I told you what are the possible questions. So be at home, be safe and continue to learn. Thank you boys.